Hey guys, it's Kaylee and today I'm here to fangirl over the wonder that was Beauty and the Beast. I finally got to watch it on Friday and it's just so good, guys! Like, that was pure Disney magic. It was incredible. It was everything I hoped for and it just made me so happy. I teared up at one point. There are going to be spoilers in this video just because I properly want to discuss my thoughts on the movie, but also you've probably all seen the animated version anyway, so if you haven't had a chance to see the new one yet, I don't really think I can spoil it that much. I think that going into this film there were kind of two camps of people who were scared for it. There were people who thought they were just going to do a shot-for-shot remake exactly the same and that there would be no point in redoing it. And there were people that thought they were going to try and change it too much and they were going to ruin it in the process, and I think they managed to strike the balance perfectly. There were points where it was exactly like the animated movie and that was amazing because it really brought home that feeling of nostalgia, but then they also really made it their own. They added new songs, they brought in a little bit of backstory to where Belle's mother is, why the Beast is so mean, which I thought was great. Just everything worked. The things they kept the same worked, the things that they changed worked. They just did such a brilliant job of bringing it to life. It was so magical. That's the only word I can use to describe it, is magical. Something that I quite liked about the film is that they didn't use incredible voices. Emma Watson and Dan Stevens both have pleasant voices, but they're not like, wow, amazing, they should be on Broadway, and I kind of like that because it made it very real. Obviously I like big Broadway songs and big Broadway voices, but it's not always necessary, and I felt like in this movie it wasn't necessary because in Beauty and the Beast the songs don't carry the story. The songs are just like nice little extras. I feel like you don't need as strong voices, so I felt like the fact that they just had regularly nice voices worked fine. Dan Stevens' voice, I was actually very impressed by how powerful it is. I'm not sure how much of his real voice they used because his voice as the Beast is obviously quite gruff, so I'm not sure how much of it was actually his real voice and how much of it was effects that they added in terms of sound quality, but he really carried his songs well. So in terms of pure power, I was really impressed by his voice. I think they were both really good fits for their roles. Obviously Dan Stevens we don't see as Dan Stevens a lot. He's mostly in very heavy prosthetics and he worked well with that. He managed to make it work. And I know a lot of people don't like Emma Watson. Personally, I love her and I think that she definitely did the role justice. She was the perfect Belle for me. And I think that they're very similar in a lot of ways. Like, everyone in Belle's town likes her when she's just kind of pretty and something nice to look at, but as soon as she starts reading and voicing opinions they're like, huh? And it was kind of the same thing with Emma Watson. Everyone loved her in Harry Potter and they were like, oh, she's so cute, she's so sweet, she's our little Hermione. And then she kind of started showing that she was like Hermione in real life, and she went to university and she started speaking about feminism and equality issues, and people were like, we don't like you anymore. So I think there are definitely a lot of parallels that you can draw between Emma Watson and Belle. The highlight of the film for me, and I think most other people, was Luke Evans and Josh Gad. They both gave such brilliant performances and they're bromance guys. I can't, like, on stage and in real life, just go watch interviews with the two of them. They are amazing together and they both just did their characters incredibly. I think LeFou might actually have been my favourite part of the whole movie. He was never a character that I particularly cared for in the animated film, but he was just brilliant in this. And the thing that I really liked about it was they gave him a personality. In the cartoon he's very much just Gaston's sidekick, but they gave him a lot more personality in this. He has these great one-liners, and at the end when he's like, oh, I used to be on Gaston's side but we're having some trouble now, so let's kind of see how things go. I just thought he was such a great character, and the way that they let him evolve and grow, and I think they probably let Josh Gad have a lot of fun with his performance and just kind of let him roll with it. I definitely got that impression and it worked so well. It was just, he was brilliant. Luke Evans as well, I can't imagine a better person to play Gaston. I love Luke Evans, I think he's an amazing actor, and I actually think that in the whole spiel of characters in the film, Gaston must be the most difficult to play, because in the cartoon he's so larger than life and ridiculous that it would have been very easy to make him come off as silly and unrealistic. Luke Evans just brought him to life so brilliantly. Like, I believe that he is a real person. I believe that there is someone who is that self-centered and that stupid and full of himself. I completely believed his character, and I think that given the source material that they had to work with, given the Gaston from the cartoon, making him that real must have been a huge challenge, and they completely pulled it off. He was such a good character, and also he did the change so well where he goes from being just this really awful, self-centered man to being truly sadistic and evil. He flipped that switch so well and made it seem so natural that he would go from being this friendly but very arrogant guy to being really like a terrifying human who is completely okay with tying someone to a tree and letting the wolves come and eat them. Oh, he was brilliant. Those two were just absolutely the highlights of the film. They did such a good job. Can we get a spin-off that's just the two of them, please? Because they're amazing. They're wonderful, but only if Luke Evans and Josh Gad are still playing them. My babies did good. They did me proud. There were some new songs added into the film, which I'm completely okay with. I really liked the new songs. I think that they worked well. They used the musical team that they used from the original film, so there was definitely a feel of continuity. The new songs didn't sound out of place. They flowed well with the rest of the music. But I have a problem with the fact that Human Again was not in the movie. I liked the new songs, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they could have spared an extra 2 minutes in the film to just put Human Again in. I was waiting for this huge musical number with all the things in the castle, cleaning it up and making it romantic and wonderful for the ball, and it just didn't happen. And I was so bleak. I was so looking forward to watching that. So that was my one major disappointment with the film, that they didn't include Human Again. And also, actually, I have one other disappointment. In Belle, at the beginning of the film, there's a part in the song where she's like, "Oh, isn't this amazing? It's my favourite part because you'll see." That part, she's singing to sheep and it's super cute, and then one of the sheep comes and like starts eating her book. One of my favourite parts of the whole film. Where were the sheep? She was just walking around the village singing to herself. Where were the sheep? The sheep made that scene. Why would you do that to me, Disney? One little detail and you could have made the scene a million times better. But no. We all knew going into the film, because it had been very widely publicised, that they'd made Belle a bit of an inventor. She helped her father with his creations, she came up with her own creations, and that was great. I like that she was a bit more proactive than in the cartoon. Because she is so intelligent, it makes sense that she would do things with her time, and I like that they kind of brought that into her outfit. In a lot of the scenes, she has her skirt kind of hiked up on one side and tucked into her belt, and you can see bloomers sticking out from under that. So I like that they included the bloomers because it shows that, you know, she's always ready to run and do something and get busy and make things and create things, and I thought that that was great that they gave you that visual cue. But I also liked that they didn't just put her in bloomers, because I think that in trying to make her more obviously feminist, because in the original cartoon she is already a feminist, but I think that in trying to make her more obviously feminist, they could have very easily been like, oh yes, well Belle would wear pants and contradict society like that. But they didn't do that. They kept her original costume and they just added something in to show that she's very like proactive and spunky and out there and doing her own thing, and I thought that was really cool. Speaking of costume, I loved her dress. I've seen a lot of people complaining about her dress. I thought it was beautiful. Obviously I'm referring to the yellow dress. I thought her dress was wonderful. I thought it was a great homage to the original dress, but just a little bit different and a slightly different take on it, and I thought it moved beautifully when they were dancing. I just really liked the dress, guys. I'm sorry. Sue me. It was a great dress. And just visually, the whole film was stunning. The scale that it was done on, the detail in that castle was insane. I don't know how much of it was real sets and how much of it was CGI, but whatever they did it right. It was just visually stunning. The dancing scene in the ballroom was also just, it was so pretty, guys. So pretty. That was when I cried. When she arrived on the top of the stairs and I saw her in her dress, I teared up, and the tears stayed until the end of that scene. It was just so wonderful. So wonderful. I like that there were also things that tied the story together. Like at the beginning of the film, she sees that man and she's like, oh, have you forgotten something again? And he says, yes, but I can't remember what. And at the end of the film we find out that he is Mrs. Potts's husband, and when the Enchantress had cursed the castle, he had forgotten obviously that this was his family and that they worked there, and then he met her again and he was like, ah, I remembered what I forgot. Ewan McGregor's Mexican accent flew me in. Fantastic. If you haven't watched that Graham Norton interview, I think I'll try and leave it in the description. And basically he says he never bothered to try and learn a French accent because he's married to a French woman, but then he did his voiceover stuff and he realised he actually sounded more Mexican than French, and you could definitely hear it in the film, and it really made me laugh. And Sir Ian McKellen, there is just something very right about Gandalf being a clock. I don't know. It was just all around wonderful. The casting was brilliant. I've forgotten what her name is, but the woman that plays Madame de Garde-Robe or whatever, her voice, holy crap. her voice is incredible. Also, in the credits there is a song by Celine Dion, and I thought that was a nice touch. Obviously she did the original Beauty and the Beast song with P.O. Bryson, and they covered it with Ariana Grande and John Legend for this film, which I was not impressed by, but I like that they gave Celine Dion her own song at the end. It was just a nice touch. Definitely still one of my all-time favourite Disney films. Absolutely loved it, in case you couldn't tell from me raving about it for the last I don't even know how many minutes. 5 out of 5 from me. If you haven't already watched it, definitely go watch it, because it is wonderful and you will love it. You might cry, and my battery and my memory card are running out, so I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye!